Alright, taking the rear disc brake assembly off with the caliper part still attached. It makes it easier, makes life easier, and we just transfer it over to the brand new wheel over there on the right. And first and foremost, it's a 6mm hex on there for the 4 studs. Obviously that moves around because I decided to leave the caliper on because it's easier for me just to move that around and remove it and just put it straight onto the new one as a whole piece. I won't worry about any slight rusting on there. When the brake gets used again, that'll obviously come off. There is 4 studs in the new tyre as well, so you know, obviously I'll keep the better ones that are in better condition, but you're going to have 4 spares left over anyway. I do have the Allen key. There we go, they're pretty stiff. I've got that one loose. I've also got the bit in the 3/8 ratchet as well. Get that in there. Some pressure on that. And the wheel. Obviously keep going with them. And we'll get that out. All 4 of those studs out. Probably best to do it in diagonal fashion, as we're usually taught to do. That's the one out. Just grab it. You can see the one out there. Keep hold of that. I've actually got a little jar. I'll keep all the bits that are loose that do come off. So I know that they're for this this bike. Now that stud in there is a little bit darker coloured than the rest, so that may be a replacement that was put in at some point. It doesn't matter, like I say, there's 4 over there that are silver like the others, so I can always get this one is quite stiff, to be honest. And I might get my try that. No. Might get my see if I can get my cheetah bar on the end of this hex key before we get any blowtorch or anything like that out. Yeah, the cheetah bar did it. With a bit of bit of a snap to it. There's no bend or anything in that, so it's okay. Again, I'm having to be careful here because I'm just snatching at this of an evening as I come out for the minute. I've got white chinos on. It's probably not the best clothing again to be messing with the bike, but I'm just doing it for 5 minutes. So yeah, that's the bolt there. It may just be the same, just discoloured on the top, but there isn't no marking. The markings that you see on the silver ones isn't actually on there, so it might just be a replacement of the same kind of thing, to be honest with you. Okay, now this is the Draper 3/8 we're using again, the 3/8 bit holder that we looked at some time back. So we'll give them all. Oh, well, that's just fell down there and has gone into the pile of water that's collected from the, but it's pulled up in there from the rain in the back of the wheel. So we'll wait till that's come off to get that off full stop. So we'll push this off. Move it. There we go. I'm not too sure at this point whether I should take this part of the bracket off, here and here. We'll see how it pans out. Might have to give that a bit of a tap with the mallet. Okay, so I'm going to undo these bolts here and remove the two pieces separately. Might be easier to do that. This one's a 10mm and this one's a 14mm. They're different, so I don't know whether that's how it actually is, or whether one of these is a spare bolt that's been put in at a later date that's got the same size thread but obviously a different sized head on the nut part, I don't know whether that is somebody's just replaced it with a different bolt, or whether that is actually how it is or not. I don't know. I suppose we'll have a look when we get the threads out, because if the thread, the thickness, the diameter, and the thread itself is obviously differing from both bolts, then it's obviously, you know, they're different bolts and it doesn't matter. Now, I'm going to be trying out the brittle hallmark long, or the extra long 3/8 drive ratchet for this, so we'll give that a try out. I'll get this 14 out first. It's going to come out now by hand, which it is. Let's look at that. Not much of a test for it, so yeah, it looks as though it's the same thread, and just one of them is obviously a spare that's gone in to replace another. Which one of the two is the spare that's been used at some point, I don't know, but it is what it is, as we say. So we'll remove that piece. Can remove that. Now, like I say, we might have to give this a tap. Actually, we might be able to do it just with this. You see, it is you got these pieces here, so it is going to be fairly stuck fast because it's been down for a while. So I might have to grab the mallet. Right, okay, so give the old mallet a go. There it goes. Like I say, don't worry too much about the rust. Obviously, when the brake pads get on there, it's going to wear it. The rust's going to come straight off anyway, because it's basically going to be like well, it's friction, isn't it? So it's basically going to be like going under a sander, I suspect, in a sense, for the disc. I don't know. Might run the copper brush around it, and we'll see what happens, I suppose. Okay. we go. It's cleaned up the disc brake of the rust, the surface rust that was on there. That obviously, like I said before, when the disc brake, when the brake pads start getting on there again, anything else is going to wear anyway, because the disc brakes wear anyway. That's you know, you have a thickness of how much is left before you have to change it for a new one anyway. But for the minute that looks okay. I put it on the other wheel. Now you can see that the copper wire brush has actually worn right down. Now obviously I've used this one for a fair few things, but it's obviously worn down as well, just doing that, cleaning up that disc brake. So I've got the 3/8 ratchet out like I mentioned before, so I might as well use the bit holder to get them on this other wheel. Got to get the studs out of there. They seem in a decent enough condition, the ones on here. May as well use them. Got the other cat out as well today. She's a nice, it's a good cat, that one. Olivia Newton mackerel, as well as the other ones. If they come into shot, that's they're both my cats. They come out and have a run around the garden, so I don't mind that. They're mainly house cats. They just like to come out in the garden and run around. They don't like going wandering the streets. They like to remain where they are, so they'll be around me usually when I'm out here. Some more cobwebs, spiders have been here. There we go. Again, we'll do this diagonally. Don't want it too tight. You want a little bit of play to make sure you get all your other bolts in first. tops for some of these look like they look okay. The tops of these two look like I just do a bit of a polishing over. See it look all nice and sparkly again, nice and clean. I may give this area here a blast with the copper wire brush as well, and probably give it a bit of hammerite or something, blacken that back up, or even just some black auto paint like what's regularly used on this, whatever you know. And I think it might be a good time to change the pads, the brake pads in there while it's off as well, to be honest. It is pair playing. Right, I'll just give the shock a bit of treatment with the copper brush. Let's see if we can get this rust up, see what it looks like after we give it a going over. I'll go over the threads on there, but I'm not sure if that's, you know, basically stuck fast. But it should be alright as it is, how it's been set. It's come off previously to just go straight back on, just to clean it up a bit.